Welcome back to the series on project development with Node.js. In this video, we are going to talk about how we can set up our middlewares for actually setting up the strategy for Passport. What's the strategy inside a Passport? You can, in simple word, assume that it's the algorithm that Passport package is going to use in order to actually authenticate the users. This strategy can be based on various like I would say conventions and technologies. Like you can use either JWT tokens in order to authenticate and build a strategy around it, or maybe you can use some Omnion strategies around Google login or Facebook login. Every detail is already given in the official documentation of Passport, so you can definitely refer that. Okay, cool. So now let's just start. So first of all, we have our util folder. Inside our util folder, what we can do is we can make a new file, auth.js. This auth.js file is going to have a lot of strategies and a lot of things that we are going to use inside our application. Okay, cool. So first of all, let's import Passport. Then we'll import local strategy is equals to require Passport local dot strategy, and then we can say we'll need a user model, or just user we can say, is require models. Okay, now first of all, what we are going to do, we'll say Passport dot use. This use is similar to the use in the Express application also. It's going to add some middlewares, right? Passport dot use. So first of all, it expects this like for what action you want to have the strategy. So for sign up, whenever we'll go for sign up, we will build a new local strategy. We'll build a new local strategy. Inside that local strategy, we are going to have a username field. So this is going to be email, like, and a password field. This is going to have password, right, from our object. Okay. Now then, what we'll do, we'll pass another function. So this will get another function as the parameter. So email password done, and is going to expect this callback kind of a thing. Okay, and inside this function we'll say try a catch.
20 मिनट केवल देखिए उसके बाद हम आएंगे.
Okay, we'll say console.log error, and we'll say done error. Then it's going to call the next middleware, right? Otherwise we'll say const user is equals to user dot create, and this should be a wait because it's an asynchronous call. User dot create, and we'll say email comma password. Okay.
चाकू देखिए ना. चाकू.
So this is going to actually create the user based on the email and the password, and whenever we are going to sign in, because similar for sign in also we are going to create a local strategy. It is going to get the email and password from the sign up functionality that we have made, right? And whenever we will be executing user dot create, what will happen is it will automatically encrypt the password, so we don't have to handle that specifically. At last, what we can say is return done null comma, because there is no error. So in the error field, it's a error first callback. This done is an error first callback. So if there is no error, we'll pass null, and in the data we'll pass the user that we have extracted. Okay. Now let's do one more thing. Let's set up the strategy for login also. Okay. So passport dot use login new local strategy. Inside the new local strategy. Inside the strategy, first of all, we are going to pass an object with username field as email and password field as password, same as sign up password. Okay, and then we are going to pass second we are going to pass an asynchronous callback, which is going to have email, password, and a done function. We'll again do try catch. Error. We'll say this should be returned. Console.log error, return done error. If there is any error in doing the login mechanism, that's when this is going to be handled. Otherwise, what we are going to do, const user is equals to await user dot find one, and we should find the user by email. Then we'll say if we are not able to find any user with the corresponding email, we'll say return done null false, and we'll pass a custom object message user not found. Okay, user not found. Otherwise, we'll say const validate is equals to await user dot is so inside the user model, we wrote this function is valid password, so you can use it here, is valid password, and we can pass a password. Right, so this is the moment. If you are able to find the user, now you are going to authenticate, or I would say check whether the password given by the user is same as the password stored for the user in the hashed form. Right, okay, so if not validate, we'll say return done null false message wrong password. Okay, otherwise we'll say return done null, will instead of false we'll pass the user, and we'll pass the message as logged in successfully. Okay, right, so this login strategy is also done for us, right? Okay, now what we can do is inside our routes, now we can go open routes v1 index.js. Inside our routes, maybe we can do something, right? So first of all, let's do one thing. Let's get passport. We'll get passport here. Okay, we have the router already in place. Now we can set up few routes. So first of all, we'll say router dot post a post method we are going to make with the URL as /sign up, and we will say we will pass a middleware passport dot authenticate. And what strategy we are going to use to authenticate? See, now it is going to take up the strategy. For the corresponding strategy, we have the function mapped. So we'll just pass the strategy here. The strategy here is sign up. The sign up strategy is going to be used, right? And there is no session, so session false. We are not doing any session mechanism here, right? And comma, we are going to pass our asynchronous callback function request response, the simple one. So let's just make it a bit more cleaner. Okay, so now the request response, and here we can say first of all, let's do one thing. Okay, we can say rest.status 200.json. We'll build a JSON. We'll say success true and message sign up successful, and we can say data. In the data property, we'll pass request.user as user. Okay, and let's see if anything else we should do. Good, I believe this should be a good to go. Let's check. If we go to the sign up strategy, let's see. Inside the sign up strategy, we are going to pass. Okay, so it will fetch the email and password. I guess this should be good. It should be good, right? Okay, and this is the post route that we have created, right? This is the post route that we have created. Okay. Now we need to create the login route, right? The login route we have to create. So apart from this passport and express, we need to also get JWT, because that's when the JWT token verification mechanism is expected to happen. So require JSON web token. Okay, we'll require JSON web token, and now we'll have a login route. So router dot post, sorry, my bad. Router dot post. Okay, we'll say slash login, comma, we'll say asynchronous request response, the callback to the controller. This is the controller callback, right? And now inside the controller callback, we are going to authenticate. So we'll say passport dot authenticate, and what strategy we are going to use? We are going to use the strategy of login. So we made two strategies, right? And inside the login strategy, we'll pass one more callback of error, user, and some info, right? So if you are able to successfully authenticate, see, we were returning any error, user if there is a user, otherwise false, and some extra information like message, right? We'll say try catch error. Inside try, we will say if error or not user. If there is any error or if we were not able to find the user, we'll say const error is equals to new error, and we'll say something went wrong. Okay, and we'll say return next with the error. Okay, so we'll get next here also. So whatever is the next callback that we want to execute, we are going to pass the error there, right? If there is no error, we'll say request dot login, right? So login is going to be an express method, request dot login, and we'll pass the user that we have fetched. So the user that we have fetched, then we will pass an object session false because we don't want to set up it, and then we'll say asynchronous error, right? It will only take error. If there is any error, return next error, just pass the error to the next callback. Otherwise we'll say const body is equals to id as user dot id, comma, email as user dot email. Okay, this is the body. Then we'll fetch the token. Token is jwt dot sign, right? So this is the sign in token. Whenever you sign in, this token is going to be used. We'll say user body, right? So this sign function expects an object on which, based on this object only, it is going to create the JWT token. So later when we have to verify the JWT token, we will try to use the similar mechanism and we will fetch this original object back. So that's why I'm going to pass this user object in the in this case, and then we have to pass some secret here. So let's say for the timing, I'll just write top secret, right? You can just customize this string. You can write like ABCDEF or anything like that. This secret is going to use to convert this object into a JWT token. And at last we'll say return res dot status 200 dot JSON, and inside the JSON we are passing the token. Okay. Otherwise, if we caught an error, we'll say console dot log error and return next error. Okay, and we have passed token. We can do few more things here. We can pass success, and we can pass message successfully signed. Okay, this and token, when you just write one word, it will be key and value same. So key will be token and the value, it is going to take this token variable. That is going to be really easy, right? Okay, now what we can do is we will say We need few more packages like const JWT strategy is equals to require passport JWT dot strategy, and we'll say const extract JWT is equals to require is going to require passport JWT dot extract JWT. Right. So these two, I would say, packages from passport JWT module is going to actually help us to in order to extract the JWT and verify it. Right. Like all of this mechanism is already built inside Postman. Built inside Passport. That's the best part. Okay, and let's just do one thing. Okay, this should be colon user.email. Okay. Now what we can say is, let's say we will say passport. We can go to, okay, let's do one thing. Instead of using them here, we can go to auth.js and we can add these strategies here. So we can say passport.use new JWT strategy, and this strategy takes an object username field, or this takes secret or key, and again you can pass some secret. So let's keep the secret same. Right, you can later make environment variables and change the secret from there. Right, and then you say JWT from request as extract JWT dot from URL query parameter will fetch the secret token, and you can replace it with any other string, and then we will also pass an asynchronous function token comma done. Right, token comma done will say try catch console.log error done error. Okay, cool. And then try will say return done null comma token dot user. Now the moment what will happen is, if you will use this new strategy of JWT strategy, what will happen is it will automatically get the JWT token that you are passing in the request and fetch it, and from that it will extract the user object. This is something really very important. Right. Okay. Now we have set up our user strategy. We have also set up login. Now let's do one thing. We can go to routes index.js. Right. We can go to routes index.js and let's add a new route. So let's say we'll say router